The sky of Korath was red with ash and glowing fire. Black mountains stood like teeth, sharp and tall. Deep under them, rivers of lava flowed like blood. This was not a world for the weak. Far above, something small fell from the sky, burned, like a falling star. But it was not a star. It was an escape pod. It crashed near the ash cliffs with a loud roar. Smoke rose high into the air. The Dravarians, giant creatures with wings, scales, and glowing eyes, came to see what had fallen. They were dragons, but not wild. They had cities, councils, and warriors. They ruled the skies of Korath. When they opened the pod, they were surprised. Inside was not a weapon. It's not a soldier, not even a beast. Inside was a boy. It's a small human boy, quiet and calm. His hair was dark. His eyes were clear. His name was Toma. The warriors stepped back. A human. One growled. From the old worlds. Too small, another said. Too soft. The Dravarians had not seen a human in many cycles. Long ago, they fought humans in the stars. Some said the humans were clever. Others called them cowards. But all believed they were gone. Now this one had fallen from the sky. The Elder Wing. Council gathered. These were the oldest and strongest of the Dravarians. Their wings were wide, their scales bright with age and power. They looked down at Toma.
"What are you?"
asked Varn. The High Elder Toma stood quietly. He looked up at the tall dragons without fear. "I'm just me," he said softly. The council murmured. "He does not bow," one said. "He does." "Not cry?" said another. "Strange." Brack, the youngest warrior in the room, stepped forward. "We should test him," he said. "See what he can do." Varn shook his head. "He is no leader. He is a child. Weak. He does not belong here." Brack looked at Toma again. The boy did not move. He did not argue. But there was something in his eyes, a quiet fire. The council voted. The choice was clear. The boy would not be accepted. "He shall not live in our nests," said Varn. "Let the land decide his worth." He gave Toma a small pack with dried fruit and a water skin. No weapons, no armor. Just enough to survive a few days. They dropped him at the outer cliffs, where the lava winds howled and beasts hunted anything that moved. "This is not mercy," one elder said. "It is the test of nature." Brack followed silently, landing. Nearby, as the boy stepped out onto black stone, "Why don't you run?" he asked. Toma looked up. "Where would I go?" Brack said nothing. He watched as Toma walked forward, small steps, steady, not afraid. The first night on the cliffs was cold, not in heat, but in silence. Lava glowed far below, but gave no comfort. The rocks were sharp. The winds could push a full-grown Dravarian off the edge. Toma found a crack in the cliff wall and crawled inside. He made a bed of dry moss and closed his eyes. He did not cry. The next day he explored. He learned which lizards were safe to eat, and which would bite. He found a spring dripping from the rocks, cool and clean. He carved a sharp stone to cut fruit. On the third day, cliff serpent attacked. It was fast, with 2 heads and poison teeth. It lunged at him from behind a rock. Toma rolled away, grabbed a stick, and jammed it between the creature's jaws. It snapped the wood and came again. This time, Toma threw a rock at its eye. The serpent hissed, blinded. Then, with quick steps, he led it near a crack and jumped aside. The serpent fell down into the lava far below. Brack had watched from above. He used no fire, no wings, no claws, the young warrior said to himself. Just his mind, a week passed. Then, too, Toma built a small shelter, set traps for sky bugs, and cooked them on hot stones. He spoke little, but he watched everything. One morning, a young Dravarian cub wandered near his shelter. It was chasing a flying beetle and got lost. Then it heard a growl. A rock beast, huge and slow but deadly, came from the shadows. The cub froze. Toma moved without thinking. He threw a bright stone at the beast's eye. It roared and turned. He waved and shouted, drawing it away from the cub. Then he ran. The beast chased him, but Toma led it to a narrow path. When it tried to follow, the edge broke. The beast fell into a pit. The cub ran home. The story spread. "A human saved me," it said. The council met again. Brack spoke first. "He beat the cliffs. He hunts. He survives. He saved our own."
Yeah.
Varn was silent. His eyes narrowed. "One act does not make him worthy," he said. "He is still not Dravarian," Brack said. "No, he is not. But he is not like any human we've heard of either." From the high ridge, Brack flew down once more. He landed near Toma, who was watching the sky. "The others still say no," Brack said. Toma nodded. "It's okay. I didn't ask to be a leader." Brack tilted his head. "Then what do you want?" Toma looked at the sky again. "I want to learn to fly," he said. Brack blinked, and for the first time, he smiled. The days on the outer cliffs were hard, but Toma never gave up. His hands were scratched, his clothes torn, but his spirit stayed strong. Each morning, the lava winds blew hot dust in his face. Each night, the sky roared with thunder and red lightning. But Toma kept going. He hunted sky lizards, drank from a spring he had found, and carved tools from sharp glass rocks. He had no wings, but he moved like one who belonged to the land. The Dravarians watched from above. At first, they only wanted to see him fail. But now they were confused. "How is he still alive?" asked Elder Grawl, shaking his wide head. "He should have cried or begged by now," said Elder Mira. "But he doesn't even look afraid." "He is learning," said Brack, who had been watching closely. "He listens to the stone." "He moves like one of us." Varn said nothing. His red eyes stared at the boy with deep thought. Then he gave a command. "Let us test him further." That night, a shadow flew across the sky. It dropped something near Toma's shelter. It was a metal tablet, carved with old runes. The message was short. "Pass the 3 trials, then we will speak." Toma looked up. Far away, he saw dragon wings in the sky. He did not smile, but his hands closed around the tablet like it was a promise. The next day began the first trial, the climb of Ash Teeth. A steep wall of sharp black rocks stood before him. The wind here was strong, and the heat from below made the stone burn. No ropes, no help. Only his hands and feet. Toma studied the cliff before touching it. He tested the stones. Some were loose, some were hot. But he chose a path and began to climb. The wind pushed him. His fingers bled. A rock broke, and he slipped. But he didn't fall. He held on, breathing slow, eyes calm. Above him, Brack watched. He was quiet. Even the elder dragons around him said nothing. They had never seen a human climb the Ash Teeth alone. By evening, Toma reached the top. His arms shook, his knees bent. But he stood straight. The first trial was passed. The second trial came at night, a run of flames. At the base of the fire hollow, geysers of fire shot from the ground. They came without warning. The land shook. The air shimmered with heat. No map could help. One had to feel the path. Toma stepped onto the black field. He closed his eyes. His ears listened to the cracks. His feet tested the ground. Then he ran fire. Burst behind him. Rocks split in front of him. But he moved like smoke, fast and quiet. He jumped, rolled, ducked, and slid. At the end of the hollow, a small orb glowed. He picked it up and held it high. The dragons above let out low roars. Brack's eyes shone with pride. 2 trials passed. One remained. The final trial came with the sunrise. The beast of stone Toma was taken by a silent flyer to a dark canyon. Here, a stone-hide Gorak waited. The creature had armor-like skin, 3 eyes, and could crush a tree with one hand. It was blind to fear. "You must not kill it." The voice of Elder Mira echoed from above. "You must outthink it." Toma entered the canyon slowly. He made no sound. The Gorak sniffed the air and turned its head. It charged. Toma ran between boulders through narrow cracks. He led the beast in circles, using its size against it. He made sharp noises with his tools, confusing the Gorak's ears. Finally, he reached a high ridge and stood still. The Gorak followed, climbing up behind. Toma waited. Then jumped off the edge and grabbed a branch below. The Gorak tried to stop, but it was too late. It fell into a soft mud pit. The beast roared, stuck but safe. Toma climbed back up, muddy and tired, but alive. The third trial was over, at sunset. Toma stood once again before the Elder Wing Council. The great dragons formed a circle around him. Their wings cast long shadows on the red ground. Brak walked beside the boy. He passed all 3 trials, he said, and he harmed no creature. He used his mind. Some elders nodded. Others looked away. Varn stepped forward. You are clever, human boy, and brave. But these are not enough. Toma looked up.
All his
face was calm, not angry. I didn't do this to impress you, he said. I did it because I want to learn. I want to help. His words were simple, but they echoed loud. Even Varn was quiet for a moment. You are still not Dravarian, he finally said. You have no fire? No wings? Brak spoke again. But he has heart, and that is what we need. Varn turned and walked away. The council was still divided. Later that night, Toma sat alone near the fire rocks. He stared at the stars. Brak landed beside him. You surprised them? He said. I didn't mean to, Toma answered. I just didn't want to sit and wait. Brak looked into the flames. A long time ago, a great dragon said that wisdom is stronger than fire. But we forgot that. You reminded us. Toma stayed quiet. Brak stood. Sleep now. Your hardest test is still to come. Toma looked up. What test? Brak smiled softly. The one no dragon dares take? The test of the sky heart? Toma did not know what that meant yet, but soon. He would. The wind howled louder than ever before. The air felt heavy, as if the sky itself was holding its breath. Even the strongest dragons stayed close to the mountain caves. There was fear in the wind. Only one name was whispered that day, Skyheart. Far, below the peaks, Toma sat with his back against a warm stone. His arms were scratched, his clothes covered in dust. But his eyes still held that same quiet fire. Brak landed beside him. The young Dravarian warrior looked serious. He carried no weapons, only his claws and wings. It's time, he said. Toma stood up. Time for what? Brak looked to the horizon. A thick fog covered the land there. It was not smoke. It was cold, strange, and filled with energy. You passed the trials of fire and stone, Brak said. But one test remains. Toma waited. The Skahart. Long ago, the Skahart was a guardian beast. Bigger than any dragon, older than any elder, it was not truly Dravarian, nor fully beast. It came from a time before the war clans, before even the council. Its scales were black as night, with 6 glowing eyes and wings like shadow. It lived in the Ash Basin, a deep valley no one entered without reason. Those who did not return. The Skyheart did not hate, did not serve. It simply waited. It waited for one worthy of its respect. And now, a small human boy was walking toward it. Toma followed the path Brak had drawn in the dust. The land grew quiet, no birds, no wind. Even the lava rivers slowed. At the edge of the basin, he stopped. It was huge. The rocks were darker here. The ground cracked with each step. He saw strange claw marks along the canyon walls, too large to be any normal creature. Then he heard it, a low, deep rumble, like thunder trapped under. The ground, the Skyheart, was awake. Dragons gathered on the cliffs above. The elder wings stood in silence. His face was tight with worry. He will not survive this, one elder whispered. Why send him? Asked another. Because if he does the impossible, Brak answered, we will have to believe. Below, Toma walked slowly. He held no weapons. No shield. His hands were open. His steps calm. Then the fog shifted, and the sky heart appeared. It rose from the basin like a mountain with wings. Its body was longer than a warship. Its scales were black with silver cracks. Its 6 glowing eyes looked in different directions. All watching, its roar made the rocks shake. Even the sky seemed to pull back. Toma stood still. He did not run. The sky heart stepped closer. It lowered its head, eyes glowing with strange light. It sniffed the air. Toma took a deep breath. His knees were shaking, but he didn't move. Then he reached out his hand above. Every dragon froze. "No," gasped one elder. "He'll be burned to ash." But the sky heart did not strike. Instead, it leaned forward. Let him touch its face. Toma's hand rested on the creature's snout. The sky heart let out a low, soft sound, like a purr from deep within its chest. Then it lowered itself and bowed. Gasps filled the air. On the cliffs, dragons looked at one another in shock. Even Varen stepped forward, eyes wide. "No creature has ever touched the sky heart," he said quietly. "Not even the first flame." Brack smiled. "Now tell me again, is he not worthy?"
What?
Toma sat beside the sky heart now. The great beast lay like a mountain next to him. Its eyes blinked slowly, calm. Toma didn't speak much. He just rested his hand on the sky heart's neck and looked at the sky. Brack flew down after a while and landed nearby. "You did it," Brack said. "I didn't try to do anything," Toma answered. "I just wanted to see it," Brack laughed. Softly. "Most dragons run from it. You sat beside it." Toma looked up. "It's not angry. It's lonely." That sentence struck Brack like lightning. He looked at the sky heart again and saw something new. Not just power, but sadness. Back at the council hall, the elders argued again. "He is not one of us," said Elder Grawl. "But he did what none of us could," said Elder Mira. Varn stood and silenced them all. "The sky heart chose him," he said. "And yet he asks for no throne, no title." They turned to Brack as he returned. "What does he want?" one elder asked. Brack's answer was simple. "He wants to learn and to help." The next morning, Toma returned to the nests. He walked beside the sky heart, who flew above like a shadow. Every young dragon stared with wide eyes. Every elder watched in silence. Toma stopped near the center platform. He looked up at the council. "I don't want to lead," he said. "I just want to understand." Varn looked down at him. "You've already done more than understand," he said quietly. "You have shown us something we forgot." Toma tilted his head. "What's that?" Varn stepped forward.
Oh.
His voice was calm now. "That wisdom comes in many forms."
Oh.
And so, the story spread across Korith. The boy who came from the sky. The boy who climbed the ash teeth, who ran through fire, who faced the stone beast, and who pet the sky heart. It's the deadliest creature on the planet. But Toma never called himself great. He still slept in a cave, still cooked skydash lizards, still asked questions. But now, dragons came to learn from him. Even elders sat beside him, and the sky heart followed him like a guardian. Peace did not last long. Though the dragons watched Toma with new respect, not all of them accepted him. Some elders smiled in public, but whispered in private. Some young warriors nodded to him, but their eyes stayed cold. The sky heart rested in the mountains above. Shadow brought silence wherever it passed. Toma stayed humble. He asked no favors, listened more than he spoke. But the more the people trusted him, the more uneasy the council became, especially Varn. One evening, the Elder Wing met again. The flames in the Hall of Stone burned low. "He is only a boy," Elder Grawl said sharply. "Speak softly." "Yes, but his shadow grows." "Seeks no power," said Elder Mira. "He shows kindness." Even the wildlings listened to him. "That's the danger," Varn said, rising to his feet. "They follow him without fear, and where there is no fear, there is no control." The others were quiet. "He has done what no dragon ever has," Mira said. "Duh. The sky heart follows him." "Exactly," Varn answered. "If the sky heart listens to him, then who truly rules us now?" the council or a human child. The silence grew heavier, and from that silence a crack began to form. Toma spent his days helping others. He brought clean water from mountain streams. He taught the younglings how to use tools instead of claws for shaping rock. Even planted green moss near lava vents to grow food. Dragons came to him with small problems. And he listened. Not as a leader, as a friend even. Brack noticed the change. "You've done more in weeks than some elders have done in years," Brack said one morning. "I'm not trying to take their place," Toma replied. "I just want to make things better," Brack nodded. "That may be the very reason they fear you." One day an old dragon named Coral visited Toma. "I once flew beside your ship when it fell from the stars," Coral said. "I thought you would burn. Now, I see something else in your fire." Toma smiled gently. "I don't have fire. You do," Coral said. "It just burns quiet." The next day, Coral announced he was stepping down from his seat on the council. He said the future needed new voices. Young voices. It shook the mountains. Varn was furious. "We are losing control," he roared to the others. "They follow him now, even our oldest." "He hasn't done anything wrong," said Brack, who had been invited to speak. "He has no army. No demands. That makes it worse," Varn shouted. "He has loyalty without fear. Power without asking. That is dangerous." "He has heart," Brack replied calmly. "Something we have forgotten." The council split. Half stood with Varn, half stood with Mira and Coral. The crack widened. The council was beginning to break. That night Toma sat alone near the lava pools. The air shimmered with heat, but his thoughts were cold. "I didn't want this." He whispered. The sky heart lay nearby, breathing slow. Its eyes blinked in the dark like 6 moons. "I just wanted to belong." A gentle growl came from the beast. Not anger - comfort, Brakk joined him. "The council is changing," Brack said. "Some say it's falling apart because of me," Toma asked. "Because of old fear," Brack said. "You are just the mirror that shows them what they've become." Toma looked at the stars. "What should I do?" Brack thought for a moment. "Do what you always do, Toma. Be kind, be strong, and don't run away from the fire." In the days that followed, more dragons began to question the council. Some believed it was time to build something new, something where even a human could have a voice. But others, loyal to Varn, began training in secret. They called themselves the Flamebound. They believed the Dravarian way should stay untouched. No humans, no Skyheart, no change. And one night the Flamebound made their first move. Toma woke to the sound of wings, many wings. The ground shook. Flames lit the sky. Shouts echoed through the caves. Brack burst into his shelter. "There, attacking the learning hall?"
yelled.
"They say you've broken tradition." Toma grabbed his pack. "We have to stop them." Together, they raced through the stone paths. Smoke filled the air. The younglings ran for cover. Buildings of carved stone cracked under dragon fire. But it was not war. It was a warning and a message. Varn appeared at the edge of the fire. His eyes were cold, his voice louder than thunder. "You do not belong here, human. This world is not yours to shape." Toma stepped forward, his hands open. "Only wanted to help." "You have helped enough," Varn growled. "Step down, leave, or face what comes next." The flames burned behind him. Brack moved to protect Toma, but the boy held him back. "I will not fight you." "Varn," Toma said. "Then you have already lost," Varn replied, and flew into the night. The next morning, the council sat in silence. Smoke still rose from broken walls. Mira looked tired. Coral had not returned. Brack stood beside Toma, his tail still singed from the fires. Toma stepped forward. "I do not want to rule. I do not want a throne," he said. "But I will not run. I will stay. I will help anyone who asks, Dravarian or not." Hall was quiet. The silence no longer felt cold. One by one, dragons stood beside him. Not to fight, to build, to begin again. But in the shadows, the Flamebound gathered. Varn's eyes glowed with fire. The council had not just broken, it had split. And a storm was coming. The skies over Korath were no longer peaceful. Every morning, black-winged shadows flew across the valleys. The winds carried whispers of fear. Villagers stayed close to the caves. Children stopped playing near the lava ponds. Even the mountain. Birds grew silent. The flamebound were on the rise. They moved fast, striking outposts and burning small shrines where dragons and humans had started to live together. Their wings were marked with red ash. Their eyes glowed with firelight. Followed only one leader now, Varn, in the heart of the Stone City. Toma stood before the broken council hall. The sky above was cloudy. Ash drifted down like snow. Brack stood beside him, bruises across his side. "They've taken the eastern nests," Brack said quietly. No one was hurt, but everything was burned. Toma nodded slowly. His heart felt heavy, but not with fear. With sadness, "They are trying to undo everything we've built." "They want power," Brack replied. "They see you as the reason they're losing it." Toma turned to the crowd behind him, young dragons, some elders, even a few humans, who had arrived through the old gate from a nearby crashed ship. "We didn't start this fight," Toma said, his voice clear. "But we won't let kindness be destroyed by fear." Not all dragons followed Varn. Elder Mira remained loyal to peace. Coral, though injured, sent word from the southern cliffs. Even some warriors from the fire clans began to question Varn's path. One of them was Vera, a strong dragon with golden horns. She once trained under Varn, but now stood with Toma. "I thought he wanted to protect our ways," she said, "but he only wants to rule through fear." Toma welcomed her without judgment. He gave everyone a place guard, builder, healer. No one was useless, and that made their group grow stronger each day. Still, the flamebound were growing too. Varn trained them like a war army. His words were sharp, his wings wide, and his breath full of heat. He told his followers that the old ways must return, that humans were weak, that peace made dragons soft, and worst of all, began to speak of something ancient, a weapon, a power hidden deep beneath the world, something called the Fire Core. "It will burn away the weak," Varn said, "and leave only the strong." Toma didn't know what the Fire Core was, but the name itself made the Skyheart restless. The great beast circled higher each night, roaring at the distant mountains. Its eyes glowed brighter, its wings stirred. Strong winds. One evening, as Toma sat beside the beast, he asked softly, "What is the Fire Core?" The Skyheart did not speak, but it turned, spread its wings, and flew farther than usual. South, past the volcanoes, beyond the broken rocks. Toma understood the message. "It's real," he whispered, "and it's dangerous." Meeting that night, the learning hall was filled with dragons and a few humans. Everyone listened closely. "Varn seeks something powerful," Toma said. "Something called the Fire Core. We don't know what it is, but the Skyheart reacts to the name. That means it's old. Maybe older than the council itself." Mira stood beside him. "The Fire Core is a myth to most," she said. "But I remember a story, a flame that burns without end. Not lava, not breath, pure energy. It was sealed, deep inside the earth, to protect the world from its hunger." Brack crossed his arms. "If Varn finds it, he could destroy all of Koroth," Toma finished. The hall went quiet. Then Vera stepped forward. "Then we must find it before he does." The journey began the next morning. Toma, Brack, Vera, and two others ran. Quiet Winged Scout and Tally, a healer, set out with the Skyheart flying high above. They followed old maps carved into cave walls. They crossed boiling rivers and broken lands. Everywhere they went, they saw signs of flame-bound scout sashes, broken stone, scorched trees. Varn was searching to Dot, and he was close. On the 5th day, the group reached a hidden canyon. Strange heat rose from its center, though no lava was in sight. Old symbols marked the stones. The language was forgotten, but the shape was clear, a flame inside a circle. "Locked by chains," the Fire Core, Brack said. Toma stepped forward. The ground felt alive beneath his feet. His skin tinged lead suddenly. A roar shook the sky, flame-bound, dozens of them, and in the center Varn himself, The two groups faced each other across the canyon. Varn stepped forward, his eyes fixed on Toma. "You should have stayed in the sky, boy." "I came to stop this," Toma said. "You don't know what this power will do." "I know exactly what it will do," Varn replied. "It will burn away weakness, and you are weakness made flesh." Skyheart dropped from the clouds, landing between them with a mighty crash. 6 eyes glared at Varn. Its growl shook the stones. Varn's wings spread. "You think this beast protects you? It will fall like the rest." Toma raised his voice, calm, strong. "You seek too. Rule by fear. But we will protect each other. Not because we are the same, but because we choose to care." The battle began. Wings clashed. Fire met stone. The canyon shook with the force of dragons fighting above and below. But this was not war for land. This was war for hope. Toma did not fight with claws. He moved fast, helping the wounded, guiding young dragons to safety. Brack flew through the sky, protecting Toma's path. Vera fought 3 flamebound at once and didn't fall. And then Varn found the center, the gate to the fire core. He touched the stone. It began to open, a light brighter. Then anything burst from the ground. It was not warm. It was not cold. It was alive. Toma ran toward it. Varn stepped into the glow. "Stop," Toma shouted. But Varn only laughed. Then something happened. The light pushed him back. Varn fell, stunned. The fire core pulsed, then calmed, and when Toma stepped near it, the light grew gentle, like it recognized him, like it knew. We would never use it for harm. Varn was carried away, silent. The flamebound scattered, and the canyon slept once more. Toma did not touch the fire core again. He left it sealed. Some power was not meant to be used, and that choice became his greatest strength. The fire core was sealed again. The light that once threatened to burn the world had returned to sleep. The stone gate was closed, untouched since the day Toma stepped near it. Its glow faded, but its memory stayed. The dragons never forgot what. They saw a human boy who walked toward the power that even Varn couldn't control. And it had accepted him. But Toma chose to leave it behind. He didn't take the power. He chose peace. Toma's return to the stone city of Korath was quiet. There were no cheering crowds, no banners. Just dragons standing by the gates, their eyes wide with wonder and relief. Brack limped beside him, his wings still healing. "Healing takes time," he grunted. Toma smiled. "You've said that every day since the canyon." "Because it's true," Brack replied. "For bones and for hearts." Inside the city, changes had begun. The council was no more. The flamebound had scattered after Varn's defeat. Some went into hiding. Few returned quietly, ashamed of what they followed. Others stayed away, unsure if they would be welcomed. But Toma welcomed them all. "We can build again," he said. Together, the dragons started planting gardens. Where old lava pits had cooled, humans and dragons worked side by side. Some shaped stone, others shaped wood. Toma encouraged them to share what they knew. "Your claws are stronger," he told the young dragons. "But my hands can fit in too, places yours cannot." They laughed at first. Then they watched him fix a broken spring. With just a wire and a pebble, they stopped laughing after that. They started learning. One evening, Toma sat alone at the cliff's edge, watching the stars. The Skyheart rested beside him, its great body stretched out like a mountain. Its 6 eyes blinked slowly. It no longer roared often. It didn't need to. It was at peace. Toma placed a hand gently on its warm side. "You're not just a beast," he whispered. "You've always known more than anyone. You just chose to wait." The Skyheart let out a soft sound, half sigh, half purr. "Do you think they'll always trust me?" Toma asked. The beast didn't answer. But in the sky, the stars shined a little brighter. Mira, the old council elder, met Toma the next day. "In the circle of learning, your name is now spoken with care," she said. "Even among those who once feared you." "I'm not special," Toma said. "No," she replied. "But you are brave, and that makes you rare." She handed him a small stone carved with symbols. "This was once given to new members of the Elderwing? The council is gone, but you deserve this. Toma held the stone, felt its weight not heavy, but full of meaning. I don't want to lead with titles, he said. Then lead with heart, she smiled. That's what you've always done. Later that week, a group of younglings gathered near the city's edge. Some were dragon, some human. Listened as Toma told stories, not of war, but of building, healing, and kindness. He showed them how to make small wind catchers from leaves. He taught them how to read stars, how to find north without tools, how to listen when the world spoke without words. You don't need fire to be strong, he told them. You just need a flame inside you, a quiet one that never gives up. Young Dragon raised his paw. Is that the flame you used to stop the fire core? Toma looked at him, then nodded. Double quotes. Yes, that's the flame within. Not all days were easy. Some dragons still doubted. Some humans feared what they didn't understand. But Toma never turned anyone away. He listened. He learned. He forgave. That became his way. He called it the path of flame within. It wasn't written in scrolls. It wasn't guarded by laws. It was lived through small actions, helping, teaching, standing up with gentleness instead of force. Months passed. Then, one day, something unexpected happened. A young flame-bound returned. Her name was Nera. Her wings were marked with red ash, but her eyes were soft. I was wrong, she said, standing before Toma. I followed Varn because I thought he could protect us, but he only made us afraid. Toma looked at her, and now, I want to build, not burn. Toma nodded. Then you are welcome. She bowed her head. You're not what I thought humans were. Toma smiled. I wasn't what dragons thought either. With Nera's return, others followed. Old enemies became new friends. The city grew slowly, carefully, not into a kingdom, but into a home. The sky heart flew less now. It rested more. Some believed it was aging. Others believed it had completed its purpose, to watch over the one who would change everything. Toma still refused to sit on any throne. He chose a small room near the gardens, simple, open, full of tools and stories. Every day he walked with the people. Every night he looked up at the stars, and always the flame within him burned steady. One day, Brack brought him news. Scouts found something, he said. A strange signal, far in the north. It might be another ship. Toma's eyes lit up. Another human ship? Maybe, Brack said. Or something older. Toma stood tall. Then we should go, Brack grinned. I thought you might say that. As the sun rose, Toma looked back at Korath. The stone city now shined with life. Green moss on lava walls. Laughter in the air. Dragons and humans flying together. It had become more than a city. It had become a future. And Toma, the orphan boy, from the stars, had become its heart, not by force, not by power, but by the quiet flame within. The sky was clear that morning. Soft winds carried the scent of blooming fireflowers. The city of Korath stood strong, its walls no longer guarded in fear, but watched over by friends. Dragons flew calmly over homes. Humans walked freely through. The markets together, they had built something rare, a world where two kinds could live as one. Toma stood at the cliffside again, just as he had many times before. The skyheart rested behind him, its great wings folded, its eyes watching the horizon. Today was not like other days. Today, Toma would leave. Brack walked up beside him, carrying a small pack of supplies. His wing had healed, though the scar from the canyon still showed. You're sure about this? Brack asked. Toma nodded. If it really is another ship, it could have survivors, people like me. Maybe others who are lost. Brack looked toward the mountains in the north. And if it's something dangerous, then I'll face it, Toma replied calmly, like always. Brack smiled. You're still just a boy. Toma laughed. Maybe, but I have the flame. Vera approached next, wearing new armor made of lightstone and dragonhide. Her eyes were sharp, but kind. You'll need a flyer, she said. I'm coming with you. Toma didn't argue. Yeah. Good. I'll need someone who can fly faster than I can think. And someone who can keep you from falling off a cliff again, she added, smirking. He grinned. That happened one time. Twice. Brack corrected. They all laughed. Even the Skyheart gave a soft huff of air. Like a gentle chuckle. Before leaving, Toma went to the gardens where younglings sat in a learning circle. Some had wings, some didn't. All looked up as he entered. One little dragon, pale blue with small horns, tilted her head. Are you going far? Yes, Toma said. To find where I came from. Will you come back? He knelt beside her and smiled. Of course, home is something you return to. He placed a small silver stone in her hand. Keep this, he said. It belonged to the Skyheart once. When you miss me, hold it and remember this being different is not a weakness. It's a gift, she nodded, eyes wide. The journey began. Toma. Vera and a small team of scouts flew north. The land below changed, green gave way to ice, and mountains rose higher. Strange shapes appeared in the distance ruins, half covered in snow. Machines buried deep beneath the earth. After days of travel, they found it, a ship, old, broken, and silent, but still glowing faintly with blue lights. They entered carefully. The inside smelled of dust and old air. Everything was frozen, but still whole. The walls showed writing earth symbols. Toma could read some of it. Starborn program? He whispered. Vera asked, what does that mean? Toma looked at the logo, a symbol of a tree inside a star. It means, I was never alone. They found logs inside, data files. Messages from long ago. The ship had left Earth hundreds of years before. It carried children in cryosleep sent to find new worlds. Most of them never woke up. Something went wrong. The ship crashed before it reached its true destination. Toma is the only one who had survived. He stared at the screen for a long time. This is where I began, he said softly. It's not where I end. Vera placed a hand gently on his shoulder. You've made a new beginning that matters more. They brought back what they could. Books, tools, memory crystals. Nothing dangerous, just knowledge. When they returned to Korath, the people gathered to see what the team had found. Dragons circled the skies. Humans waited near the gates. Toma stood before them with the old Earth flag folded in his hands. Was born far away, he said, but I grew here. This is my home, and now we have a chance to connect our past to our future. He placed the flag beside the Firestone of Korath, not as a symbol of power, he added, but as a reminder that the stars gave me life. But you gave me a reason to live. Years passed, the city grew wiser. Towers rose where the old council once stood, not as palaces, but as schools and healing halls. Dragon and human children learned together. Gardens grew on stone walls. Windcatchers spun in every home. The flame of fear had been replaced by a brighter fire hope. Toma never became king. He never wore a crown, but his name was carved into the walls of the Sky Temple. Tuma, flame-bearer of peace. When he grew older, he trained others to lead. He taught them not with rules, but with stories. He often told them about a boy who arrived in a world that didn't want him until he pet the deadliest creature and showed it love. That story became legend, and it was true. One clear night, the Skyheart flew one last time. Toma rode on its back, silently. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They had shared a bond stronger than words. The beast soared over the mountains, then rose higher into the clouds, into the stars, till it vanished like a comet. Some say it returned to the sky it came from. Others say it became part of the stars. Themselves, Toma lived a long life, not as a warrior, not as a ruler, but as a bridge between worlds. And when he finally rested, the dragons and humans came together to honor him. They lit soft fires not to mourn, but to celebrate the flame he lit inside every heart. A new stone was placed in the temple. On it were simple words. The boy who was different, made it matter, and far above, among the stars. A quiet flame still burned, not of fire, but of legacy. The flame within,